God told me that I am the one. Basically, I'm the one of all time. And not because I'm the one of all time, because I have the gift of showing everybody else that they actually have the same gift. Just like by creating the sun, he was trying to see how powerful he can be and realize himself until something could realize him and explain him. And I'm explaining him for him, and he's thanking me for it by letting me know that I'm the one. And by the time I get done explaining it to everybody else, the curse of being the one is by being the one and wanting to let everyone else know that they have the same ability, I'm going to go through many struggles. Then I'm going to also feel great satisfaction. And at the same time, I won't be any more important than anyone else when everyone else finds out, because they will all be the same. So in a way, to beyond satisfaction, and like in a way nobody can explain, if everybody was to the extreme point of satisfaction and everyone was happy, what would that be called? If everyone was just enlightened, what would that be called? We wouldn't just end and leave. We would do amazing things like have sex and shine in the light and float around, and we would have it would be a world of playground. It would be, playground where we'd be enjoying ourselves, but we'd also be taking care of each other and surviving the right way and spending our time doing, very kind things. It doesn't mean that we can't do activities and physical things and questions and puzzles and whatever. I mean, maybe not physical, literal puzzles with little pieces or something like that. But see, I'm going through all little parts of myself right now, running through my mind at the same time. It's like Dan Alexander stuff, spiritual stuff, ideas on how to create stuff, and I can't put them all down at once, and I'm sorry that I jump back and forth so much. But that's one of the coolest things I've ever felt or heard. I mean, I was going to say heard or was told, but I can't say that because I feel it. It's communicating with me constantly, yet when it doesn't feel spiritual and I'm just me going around my normal everyday life, it's still there because it keeps reminding me without me thinking it or without me saying it. If anything comes into my mind that I don't like or disapprove of or would have, those are just words that I'm using to explain them, or would have not liked or would have disapproved of, it just automatically goes, bip, nope, can't. Why could that bother you? You know that you're not that. You know that you're not whatever. And all those ideas are just ideas that you have about those things. And all those ideas that other people have that may make you think otherwise are just ideas they have about those things. And we're all just confused, and we're all just confusing each other. And the people that aren't confused are the most confusing. Does that make sense? The people that aren't confused at all are the most confused people. And there are very few of us. There's very few of me out there. Not even a handful. And the ones that were have been killed. Because they actually do understand. And actually I can interpret it the right way, because it's all just frequency. It's a frequency that humans don't hear, because we're more than humans. And I mean, it sounds dumb. If you're going to hear a male American say that he's not human, it makes them sound like a ridiculous person. I mean, I almost said a slang word, but I stopped myself in the middle of it. That's sort of cool, because I love all people, and I wouldn't mean to use the word retard. And I only said it for example, but I wouldn't use the word like that. I'm trying not to do that, because I got to remember all those little beliefs and little patterns and habits that I had throughout life. Those are things like that, like saying the word, quote unquote retard. Saying words like that is like a habit. It's a pattern you got into. Like, some people don't say it at all. Some people do. And the reason they say it is because they got into a pattern of saying it. Maybe a pattern where they say it once a year. Maybe a pattern when they say it all the time. Some people have favorite words. Anyway, see, my mind is just popping back and forth from one thing to another. But with this gift of knowingness and feeling and sensing, I know that if I believe in my heart strong enough, I can accomplish anything. But there's always going to be these little doubts because I am still going through normal everyday life. You know, I'm going through normal everyday life, and as I'm going through life and I'm improving and getting my 100% brain power, when you become 100% brain power, you do turn into light. You become so enlightened that you become light, because that's, you know, that would be the best feeling you could have. Your brain will understand what spirit it has operating in it. Like the sun would understand what it was and was like, hey, I want light because it feels good to be bright, and it can support itself and burn, and its burn feels good to it. Like when you're down deep down inside your gut and you're like, oh, I got the fire burning. That's the fire that's burning. That's how the sun feels, but in the way that the sun would feel something. We don't feel it because we don't feel like that. Like the dirt has some kind of life essence, but we can't say that dirt has feelings because in our way of describing things, the dirt doesn't have any feelings. Of course not. Rocks don't have feelings, but they have a life essence, do they not? But like the sun has that burning feeling inside of it. Of course we know the sun has a burning feeling inside of it. Of course it does. Yes. When you get that burning feeling inside of you, that's you, that's the light in you feeling a little bit delighted, enlighted, you know, elated, like, I don't know, like those kind of things, like delightful. The reason it's delightful is because you're feeling like you're full of the light. And if that doesn't make sense to you, then I don't know what else could, because that's all it really is. If you had 100% of your brain power and you could actually functionally operate with 100% of your brain power, you would synthesize yourself into light, because then you would feel as close to God as you could. But then you'd actually be able to feel it, and by losing your brain, you wouldn't be able to feel it, and you go back to the light. So when you die and you go back to the light, that's what that means. I mean, sorry, I tried to tell you another thing, but instead I was told how you go back to the light when you die. And I am going to stop this one and try to tell you more about how the sun and the earth and everything was created and how it got all the way to human beings.